Welcome back to another episode of the Voices of Value podcast. This is your boy CIZZY, a.k.a. Collis, a.k.a. I could keep going, but I'm going to just cut it back right there. We are back at it again with another episode of the show. So thank you guys first and foremost for tuning in. But before we go any further, make sure that you leave a like, a comment, you share this episode, and you press the notification bell on YouTube so that you are notified every time a new episode drops. That is the number one most important thing you can do. Between me and you, if you want to be friends after you watch this interview, you want to develop a personal relationship virtually, you got to press that notification button. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate you. And we're here, man. We're here. Leo Moreno Jr. Gym, boxing gym. Overland Park with my guy Milad. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people. We're not going to do interview style today, ladies and gentlemen. It's just going to be a chit chat, like a coffee shop. But I got my best friend here with me, so I want to make sure you guys get an opportunity to hear from himself, who he is, where he's from. Just break down a little bit about you, brother.
I appreciate it, fam. I appreciate it. It's good to be here. I am one of Collis's day one friends. There's a third musketeer, if you will, to this trio. But yes, I am a Kansas City native. I was born and raised in the Missouri side up until about third grade. I moved to the Kansas side. And, I went to K-State. I'm in marketing, sales, that type of stuff. So, I've known Collis. Our parents knew each other before we were even a thought. So,
Thanks. Before I was a thought. Anyways, but no, man, I appreciate you introducing yourself. Like he said, we've been best friends for quite a while. Family has known each other for years upon years. Essentially, my dad's from Kansas City, Missouri, but my mother is from Tanzania. And my dad went to teach our faith in Tanzania and then brought the whole fam. My mom, some kids, brought the whole family back to the Missouri side. And when we got back here, there was a community of people from our faith that kind of helped them reorganize, get reconnected back into the community, find homes, find jobs, things of that nature. And I believe Milad's family or, parents were a part of that process as well. So been tuned in for a while. That's the introduction. With that being said, let's jump into business news. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about some local news first. Triple Blind, it's a tech company in Kansas City, got a new boss. They hired a new CEO by the name of Pratt Mogi. And Pratt, if you watch this and I said your name wrong, I apologize. I want to get it right, so make sure you leave a comment with the perfect pronunciation. I became aware of Triple Blind at Keystone. So Keystone Innovation Center is in Crossroads. I've taken you there a few times. They have, what would you say, panels where they have different speakers. How would you describe your experience there?
Yeah, I would describe it as a series of panels with expert guest speakers.
Absolutely. And typically in the business space. So entrepreneurs, people who are leaders of organizations that are important to the economic development of Kansas City, all types of people in these spaces, venture capital, private equity, business, entrepreneurship. And so I ran into the old CEO, aka the founder or co-founder. Bro, I don't know how to pronounce this, but since you've worked with a lot of, anyways, never mind. So RIHANNA Das, my brother, I hope I said your name wrong. I meant right. Well, now work on making the company's products better. So he's going to kind of shift his focus back to what's natural to him, which is just focusing on improving product and taking himself out of the CEO role. I had a guest on 2 weeks ago by the name of Nasir Chris, who I've talked to you about a few times, works in venture capital. And one of the conversations we, stuck on for a little bit is the difference between a CEO and a founder. And like being able to ask yourself and be real with yourself and understand when you need to take yourself out of that founder or out of that CEO role of growing and building the company and understand where your skill set lies. And then like hiring somebody to come in and run operations so you can step back and do what you're good at. Do you have any thoughts on like founder versus CEO and kind of like maybe some other examples in terms of other companies you've seen do this where you like the founder starts it, they grow it, and then they step back into a product development role or a just creative, just being the founder again?
Yeah, I think a lot of founders especially if it's your first go at it, you kind of think you're entitled to being the CEO. You just think that that's like what you're meant to do because you started it. And ultimately, I think that just depends on whatever kind of business or venture that you're trying to start. You may be the perfect person to start that idea and rally the troops and really organize those efforts, but you may not be the person that's on the front line actually leading the day-to-day charge, right? I think Jesse Isler is a great example of that. Listening to some of his recent interviews, he says he's not even on the org chart, right? Like, he doesn't really have a title, but he knows that he's the founder and he's the person that's out here making it happen and moving that to the point where it's like, okay, now we have a team and I can pass this off to them and let them do what they're capable of doing while I can focus on the bigger dream of actually making sure that this is being executed the way that I envisioned it.
Yeah, and I think where we see a lot of companies, especially startups, like crash and fail is when the ego or the pride of the founder kind of gets ahead of them and like the roles and the titles start to become too important. And they're like, no, I'm the CEO. I need to run the ship. I need to be the operator. I need to do all this. But they're getting burnt out. They don't have the skill set to do what's required of a CEO. And at heart, they're just a creative who's really good at creating new ideas and grinding and selling. I like speaking to Jesse. I mean, that's what he said he's good at. He's like, look, I'm just good at selling, man. I pull up, I'm creative. I know how to like chat, I know how to build relationships. I know how to make people want something. And so that's what he focuses on. So anyways, I think it was important to kind of point that out and why startups do that, or our opinions on that. As we see Triple Blind hopes this change will help them grow big and become a bigger company that other people can buy parts of. So the idea, I guess, is for them to IPO. And so hiring Pratt is kind of Triple Blind's way of kind of expediting that process and making sure they have the right person in that role. For the rest of the world, last week I saw that everyone knows who Tim Cook is at this point. At least we hope so. If they don't know who Tim Cook is, can you please explain to the world of Voices of Value podcast listeners who the fuck Tim Cook is?
Tim Cook is now this active CEO of Apple.
Okay, so he's not the founder.
Not the founder.
He's not the creator.
Nope.
But he is the active CEO.
I think he was the COO at one point, and then after
has he been with the company since Steve Jobs was?
He's been with the company for a very long time.
For a very long, okay. Yeah. Which would make sense for what I'm about to say. Tim Cook made $41.5 million after tax. So I think it was more like 80. He sold like $85 million of stock, I believe, and then after taxes was like $41.5 million in a share sale. Over the past, this is his biggest share sale over the past 2 years. Sometimes when they do these share sales for big companies like that, I wonder like why. What are you doing with that capital? Like, are you looking to go pull a Bill Gates where you're about to like go invest in sewage in Africa and like help a community improve something there, or are you like selling that and like pocketing that cash, or what that process looks like? What comes to mind when you see a CEO sell a large amount of shares from a company that's publicly traded and people are paying close attention to every day? What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
First thing that comes to my mind is Jeff Bezos, and what he does with his capital is he cashes out a lot of Amazon stock when it's hitting really good and really high, and he will go and invest that into his space company, Blue Origin. So that's what he does. He takes all that capital from Amazon and puts it into another company, into another venture. I don't think that that's what Tim's doing. And if I remember correctly, I don't think this was actually any stock that he had been holding for a while. This is actually stock that he gained from hitting a revenue bonus.
Got you.
So this was actually like a total plus sum for him.
Okay,
so
explain what that means for people who don't understand.
So he hit a revenue milestone for the company, and as a bonus for hitting that goal, they gave him this $80 million in stock, and then he cashed that out. So this has nothing to do with any of the stock, if I remember what I read correctly.
That sounds like it makes more sense, to be honest. So that's actually perfect. And I think it's actually a perfect segue to talk about what I believe you and I were talking about earlier, which is, I was reading that Paul Graham essay about how to get wealthy and how he was talking about putting yourself in high leverage positions. Like in sales, your performance can be measured. If your performance can be measured in a role and you can like literally look at numbers, look at a stat line and be like, this is how I impacted the company, you have so much more leverage and so much more ability to like, create impact and therefore demand more money from, or just wealth generation in general is a little bit more possible. But yes, you can come to your boss, say you're my boss, you're the sales manager, and I'm like, listen, these are my sales. This is how much money I've brought to the company over the past 2 years. I'm doing 20-30% of all sales for this company compared to everyone else doing 5%. I would like a higher, to renegotiate how my commission package is set up, right? So either way, I think it's very important to kind of think about positions and roles and what you're getting paid for. If you see your percentage, if you see the business coming back with good profits and you hit your quarter four earnings and now you're getting that big payout, a lot of people who aren't too privy to the importance of leverage or impact on a business are gonna be like, why is he getting that much money? It's like, well, because I just produced multiple $1 billion for this company. I'm gonna get paid.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So let's move on to our first real topic of the day, which yesterday I was scrolling. Actually, yeah, it was last night. I was scrolling on, got to pull my Google Drive up, but I was scrolling on Facebook and Cardi B pops up in Kansas City. Everyone in Kansas City kind of already knows she was here for the Beyonce show. After the Beyonce show, she made a appearance at Town Topic. For those of you who don't know what Town Topic is, because we do have listeners that don't live here in Kansas City, Milad, you did a little bit of research earlier today. Would you mind breaking down what Town Topic is and why it's so important to Kansas City, or why it's developed the clout in Kansas City, even before Cardi B?
Yeah, so Town Topic is a staple in Kansas City when it comes to, I think the first thing that people think about it would be nightlife food. It is a company that goes back to the Great Depression, and it is 75 years old. They have 2 main locations downtown. They're actually about 3 blocks away from each other.
Which is kind of crazy, but also shows you the amount of demand at some point they must have had. And it may be the same now, but I imagine the only reason you would build 2 locations, literally, like you can basically see the other location
From the front
like
door. Like
you drive, you see Town Topic, and then you drive for like another 4 seconds and you see Town Topic again. Same setup, same looking type of situation. So that's the only reason. I've never in my life seen, maybe I've seen Subway's competing locations because they're franchised or something like that, where they're one block and then the next block. But in terms of a small business that's not franchised across the country, like Town Topic, find that to be kind of crazy. So anyways, continue.
Yeah, so they're known for, I think probably most known for burgers. I would kind of classify them as a diner. They do have that old school diner feel to it. It does also offer breakfast food as well. So you can get breakfast, lunch, and dinner there. Dinner and lunch kind of being the same thing.
Right.
And then the downtown locations, they also have dessert available. They sell pies and things like that.
Fire. I didn't know that. And so I scroll, I see Cardi B at Town Topic. Everyone's talking about it. Cardi B actually has some other ties to Kansas City, being that some of her, I can't tell you the exact songs, but some of her first 2 big hits were produced by a local Kansas City producer. I think his last name's White, something Jay White or something like that. But either way, so I kind of assumed that she probably hit her producer up. This is a theory I'm creating in my head. She's like, yo, I'm coming to Kansas City. Where should I go eat? He's like, yo, you got to hit Town Topic, although I would never say that. But either way, you got to hit Town Topic. And she pulls up at Town Topic in her silver fit, looking how she looked good. And everyone goes crazy, right? But the reason why I wanted to share this is because in that same photo, a food or a restaurant that is very nearby Town Topic tried to capitalize off of it for their social media channel, right? Or for their Facebook page. So what they did, and we're talking about Cafe Gratitude here. So what they did is they screenshotted the photo of Cardi B, circled Cafe Gratitude, which was in the back of the picture of Cardi B, and then like had some funny comment about it, or some, I don't know if it was a promo or a comment. I didn't really screenshot it. I did actually screenshot it, but I think I deleted it already because I have a habit of deleting everything out of my phone every 2 hours. But sorry, babe, I know that's a little, everybody be like, hey, that's a little sketchy. I'm like, it's not sketchy if you knew that I've been doing this since 6th grade, okay? Been doing this since 6th grade, okay? Still a little sketchy, but it's okay. Anyways, and they got like over 200 and something comments, which is good for your Facebook page of a small business. They got over 6,000 likes, like 200 plus shares. So it did really good. Like whoever their social media manager is probably got a nice little clap and high five. And I doubt that they have a designated social media manager just because it's such a, they're not like local, a huge, they're a very local fire ass vegan food, vegan, right? Yeah, vegan food restaurant in the Crossroads area of Kansas City. So definitely check it out if you're ever here. But how impactful is like just having I guess we wouldn't call her an influencer, but she is an influencer at the same time. At the end of the day, an influencer is an individual who influences people to make decisions, right? Would you agree?
Yeah, I think there's levels to that, of course, right? But yeah, she's a S tier influencer.
What does that mean?
Well, S tier is above A, right? So S
is above A?
It is, yeah.
How?
I don't make these things up. I just report.
Is this something in like the social media world that's a thing, or did you just make up?
Have you ever seen any of those ranking videos? No, where they're like, yeah, we're gonna rank productivity habits, or we're gonna rank, I don't know, we're gonna rank dumbbell exercises as most effective. You haven't seen these?
I've never.
Okay,
ladies and gentlemen, in the comment section, let us know if you've ever heard of S being before A. Because it sure the fuck ain't in the alphabet. I could tell you that. But apparently in some type of rating system. But yes, so high tier, top tier, yeah. Individual in the entertainment industry, right? And so when we think about influencers popping up at restaurants or different locations, the first thing that comes to my mind is, Drake and Carbone, like an Italian restaurant that's in Miami and a few other places. He raps about it. He pops up. There's pictures of him in front of it when rappers pull up to a jewelry store. So when we think about Johnny Wang, or when we think of some of these other, I don't even know if he's actually a name, but I think he's a jeweler guy in the jeweler industry. Like, how impactful is it to these businesses when a S-tier influencer or an artist or somebody who just has influence pulls up? What do you think? Like, if I work at Life Adaptive Fitness Gym, I'm a personal trainer there, a contractor, right? If Drake pulls up outside of LAF, takes a photo there, working out with me, how many inquiries do you think we're going to get on the website the next day? In other words, how impactful do you think like influencer pop-ups are for like small businesses?
At that level, at S tier, very impactful. Because really what you're doing is you're leveraging their audience. So now everybody that is interested in Cardi B, that follows Cardi B online, is now being exposed to Cafe Gratitude, right?
Topic, right?
Right, just through that simple post of like even just being in the background, not actually being like Cardi B's not technically in front of your store, but she is, because your store's 250, 300 feet away. Very impactful. And this is something that goes back. Something I learned in grade school. It wasn't even called influencer marketing back then. I tried to look it up, and it's like it's just been completely rebranded as influencer marketing. Couldn't even tell you like what the original marketing term was for it, but it's I mean, we've been using celebrities in advertisements for products that aren't even really applicable to basketball or football or whatever sport that they play, right? But we still make that connection with that person and our feelings toward that person, and now associate it with whatever product that they're promoting.
And that kind of makes me want to dive down that lane. Like, what are the best commercials or products that athletes or celebrities are partnered with that you feel like are just like dope? You're just like, man, all right, that makes me think of this. The first thing that comes to my mind in terms of something new and in alignment with what we're talking about is Offset and Cardi B and McDonald's lately. I don't know if you've been seeing their promos of McDonald's and like their collaboration, but there's just been some funny content around that, funny memes, funny like retweets. So definitely, like, I don't think McDonald's really needs any more attention. Humble opinion, from a personal trainer that had a McDouble 3 days ago. Anyways, but that's the first thing that comes to mind. So what are some commercials or products that are in alignment with, or that are in relationships with athletes or celebrities that come to mind right now?
The one that comes to mind that's not sports related is Danny DeVito. And
who is Danny DeVito?
Oh man. Okay. So
do you guys know who Danny DeVito is?
Danny DeVito is most famously now for It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where him and he's like the old cat in the gang. And there's some other There's 3 guys and then a D, and they're all just causing trouble. They're always scheming. They're always on like whatever they can do to make a quick buck, or like whatever they can do to whatever their next hustle is, right? They're always searching and scheming and plotting. So that's what he's most famous for. I think that's got like 9 seasons.
Scheming.
I'm really surprised you don't even know who Danny DeVito is. That's crazy. Yeah, Danny DeVito's like 5 foot, maybe 5 feet.
So like you. My bad, y'all. My bad. A little disrespectful. Sorry. But no, I have no idea who he is, but what product is he in?
Jersey Mike's. Yeah. Jersey
like
Mike's
burgers?
subs.
I mean, no, subs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's the most famous one. That's really coming out to me right now.
Honestly, ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't tell you the last time I've seen a Jersey Mike commercial, advertisement, location. Yeah. But no disrespect, Jersey Mike's. We'll take a sponsorship. I'll eat it on camera all the time. What's cracking? Send the bread. Back to what we were saying. Yeah. What's somebody else that pops in your mind? The most legendary one is Troy Polamalu with the Head and Shoulders.
Oh.
Now, they've tried to replace Troy with Patty Mahomes.
Yeah.
And they've tried to like make it like I don't know if you paid attention, but they've tried to make it like a very slow and steady ease off of Troy and pull in of Patty. So like initially they had commercials together.
They were tag teaming.
They were tag teaming it, coming in, doing commercials together, making jokes, whatever. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. What's it called? Making jokes between each other's hair. And now we're seeing Patty kind of take the forefront, put his foot out there and be like, hey,
kind
yo.
of phase Troy out. Yeah.
Exactly. Which it's been smooth, and maybe I'm just not seeing enough Head and Shoulders commercials, and maybe Troy still is relevant, but I feel like Troy Polamalu was like the first product. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Okay, lies. Shaquille O'Neal and Pizza Hut, or was it Pizza Hut? Papa John's, yes. Yeah. Shaquille O'Neal and Papa John's is my first memory of an athlete partnering with a like food or something that wasn't specific to sports. That's the first thing. Then comes Troy Polamalu, Head and Shoulders. Those are the 2 that I remember from like being 7 years old.
Okay. I remember Michael Jordan commercials and like cereal.
Cereal?
I don't even remember.
I don't know if I
remember a lot of celebrity commercials. Taylor Swift. That's Taylor Swift and Capital One. That's a good one.
I've not seen that.
You haven't?
Talk to me about the commercial.
They like straight up just mention the Eras Tour like in the commercial. It's amazing. Genius. I think it has to do with credit card points and like hotel stays and stuff. That's what it's like centered around. But yeah, like mention the Eras Tour. You got Taylor in there. She's in an elevator with a bunch of people, and then they're at a bar. Yeah, that one's a good one. I think another good one, we'll go back to her new boo, Travis Kelce and Experian. I think that's a great.
I haven't seen that.
That's
either.
a great matchup. Yeah.
Okay.
He mentions that one a lot on his podcast about their debit card that you can use to improve your credit score.
Gotcha.
Which is great. I think a lot of people. Yeah, we're pushing a lot of like sports betting. Like, all right, let's counteract that with a little bit more responsible financial habits, right?
I like that.
Kind of balance that out.
I like that.
So yeah, I like
especially
that.
on
I like that a lot.
Especially integrating it into pieces of content like they have on what is it called? New Heights show? What's their
New Heights?
Yeah, New Heights something media podcast something. Especially on a podcast like that where it's not business focused or money focused, but still integrating. I think that's kind of a big miss that a lot of like companies like Experian, companies like Amex, companies like, I don't know, any company that promotes financial well-being, let's say, is always targeting business podcasts, which I understand, but I think if we're really trying to create value, right? If we're really trying to help the people that need help, they need to target like porn podcasts. Straight up though. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I know it feels like it's not their audience or whatever, but it's like you should target the people who probably is not being smart about their money. No disrespect to anybody that's watching the porn podcast out there, by the way, but I'm just saying, like, if they're targeting them or they're targeting like who Lean and Fit, who are those guys, the assholes? Sorry, Dad, I don't mean to be hating. I'm backbiting right now. Let me stop. But anyways, just like more controversial, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. But what's your thoughts on that? Because it looks like you disagree by the look on your face.
No, I mean, I get it, right? Like you want to bring a product to an audience that is already consuming something that your service can complement, right? So you want to bring the the jelly to their peanut butter. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I don't know where
Love
the bread is, but yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. You just made me think about the Ezekiel bread mixed with the little French jam that I got at home. I'm going to have tonight. So I appreciate that. But let's not leave the Taylor Swift conversation that fast. Let's double back a little bit. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you watch NFL football or if you're just on the internet in general, you know that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are rumored. I'm going to still call it a rumor. I've seen some photos or whatever, but rumored to be a thing, right? Came out of nowhere, kind of. Travis Kelce a few weeks ago says, I've seen you at Arrowhead. Now you got to come watch me shut down Arrowhead. Next game, Taylor Swift pulls up in the box with Travis Kelce's mom. Everyone goes crazy. ESPN, everyone's talking about it. They're putting more camera time on Taylor Swift than they are on Travis Kelce or Patty Mahomes in the middle of the games. She shows up to a second game at the New York Jet Stadium. So we've seen her at 2 back-to-back Chiefs games. They're talking about it crazy. We see Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce rolling around Kansas City in his Cutlass. Yeah. So definitely some vibes for Kansas City, but there's a theory out there. And what is this theory? What is this theory about Taylor Swift?
I actually hadn't heard about this theory, so I've got one that I've been hearing, and you got one that you put on here.
So go ahead. You do yours, and then I'll do mine.
Okay, cool. So for those that don't know, Taylor Swift attended the Jets-Chiefs game last Sunday in attendance with Sophia Turner, who's actually going through a divorce right now with Joe Jonas. And so Taylor lent Sophia her New York apartment for her and her kids to stay at. And Swift is friends with Blake Lively, so Blake Lively tagged along. And, of course, she brought her husband, Ryan Reynolds. And, of course, Ryan Reynolds brought his co-star in Deadpool 3, Hugh Jackman, who is also going through a divorce right now. Mm-hmm. So the theory that's going around is that Swift may be casted in Deadpool 3 as Dazzle in the movie. So there was another co-star there from Deadpool 3 who's I'm not familiar with, but he was also in attendance. So that was the theory, right? We've got like Deadpool 3 cast showing up with that connection, and I guess some divorcees there as well.
Facts. And then my theory that I didn't come up with myself, but the one that I have heard about is that everyone knows about, I think it was like 6 months ago, maybe a year ago, but it feels more like 6 months ago, there was a huge just commotion about Taylor Swift and her private jet emissions. People were coming after her. You're ruining the world. You're ruining the earth. Flying here, flying there, whatever. Just talking about private jet emissions. I do not know enough about that space to have any opinions on it, so don't come for me in the comment section. But if you do, please come with education. Educate me, okay? But they're going ham on her. They were cutthroat. People were like attacking her. And the theory is that her PR team has maneuvered this whole relationship with Travis Kelce and like just created this whole thing to change like all the Google searches and things that are going around and the stories that are out there about private jet emissions or commissions. What is the word? Anyways.
Emissions, yeah.
Yeah, emissions. And just kind of like cover that story with the Travis Kelce story, and that it's all the SEO play, and it really is not a real relationship, and it's just a play by both of their PR teams. Travis Kelce's gained over 400,000 followers, sold a shit ton of merchandise, so he's definitely winning financially and attention-wise, just bringing more attention to him as an athlete, but at the end of the day, as a, what do we call it, an entertainer, an influencer who will be able to leverage this newfound brand and audience for more capital, right? To get more money. So that's what they're talking about. And then Hugh Jackman got thrown in the story because they're trying to like mix all this PR so that Hugh Jackman's divorce story kind of gets covered and put out of the news and like goes under the cover. So like Deadpool, Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, all, even my client today, who is a very interesting guy, says the same thing. He thinks that they're all in cahoots. Their PR team, he thinks all the PR agencies are in cahoots, or it's the same one trying to like cover all these stories. But personally, I hope Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are in a real relationship and that it lasts forever and that it brings a lot of attention and joy and fans to Kansas City, because KC to town. You hear me? All right. Boom. So also shout out Ryan Reynolds, because Ryan Reynolds has a big investment in a company called Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile is a phone company that like sells phone services at like a cheaper cost. Guess who got that cheaper cost phone company? Mint Mobile. Come holla at me. 30. Hey, look, listen, producer, just know I'm going to ask for these sponsors as much as I can. One day they're going to come and I'm going to be like, you know what? I don't even want this cash because they got me looking beautiful on camera. Here, take it. Buy your family a mansion. You dig? I'll live in the projects. It's all good. But anyways, I'm playing. But nonetheless, Ryan Reynolds, Mint Mobile, I pay $120 like every 3 months, something like that. So $30 a month, cheap, unlimited. So I'm just saying, shout out Ryan Reynolds. And you a good looking dude. You know, y'all can have your own opinions about that, but Ryan Reynolds good looking and you getting a lot of money. So
yeah, I think it's really interesting that you bring the PR angle into that, right?
Talk about it.
Well, I mean, I talked to my dad about it and he's like, what is all this buzz about? Like, you know, I'm trying to get him into football. He's a diehard soccer fan, and I'm trying to get him into American football.
Ladies and gentlemen, y'all got to know why is your dad a diehard soccer fan, and quickly break down the background of your culture, because I think, you know, respectfully, folks looking on camera and they're like, white boy, what you is? Dab me up. We love white people. But you are also.
I'm also half Persian. Yeah.
Okay. What is Persian for those who don't
Persian
know?
Is Iranian. Yeah.
Okay.
Not always, but mostly.
Mostly. Okay.
Yeah.
And so your father is from
Iran, yes.
And soccer is a popular sport in
every country but America.
Exactly. So now you're trying to get your dad into
American football.
Go ahead. Yeah. Continue your story.
So he's like, what's all this commotion about? Like, I heard Kansas City's getting a lot of attention. They're talking about The Office, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, like Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are dating. And he's like, who's Travis Kelce? What's a tight end? Go down that rabbit hole. And then
that's such a crazy pause. That's such a crazy question for somebody who doesn't know what football is. What's a tight end? But I need to stop. I'm just in a hyper mood right now. Sorry. Continue, brother.
Yeah,
continue your story.
You know, go down all that rabbit hole. Come back. All right. So Taylor Swift. Yeah. So Taylor Swift and him are dating. It's like, so was this like another one of her PR stunts or whatever? Like, she's always, you know, doing something to be constantly in the spotlight and make herself relevant. And I thought about it. I was like, I don't really think that is. And he's like, really? Like, you don't think that this is like some publicity stunt? I'm like, I don't really feel that it's a publicity stunt. Like, in my marketing mind, this actually doesn't make a whole lot of sense in terms of like the people that she's dated in the past, the types of men that she's interested in and had romantic relationships with. They've all really been in music, and more recently, they've all been English. Mm-hmm. So dating an American football player is very like out of the ordinary. It does not fit the trend. And so he's like, yeah, I just don't like her. And I'm like, why don't you like her? Like, I think she's a total gangster. Like, the stuff that she did with Scooter Braun and took back, like, was like, yeah, fine. You can keep the old recordings. I'll just make some new ones, and they'll be better, and my fans will love me even more for it, and I'll come out the hero, and I'll take this big fat bag of money with me.
And my PR team's going to run that up.
Absolutely.
Which, that was definitely a dub, and I do respect Taylor for that. For those of you who don't know, I can't break down the story perfectly, but from my understanding, essentially, her old manager and like a company that she was signed to didn't want to give her her masters back, or were going to take the majority of her masters from all of her projects that have been killing it over the past 15 years. And they were going through like a whole battle for control of her masters. And finally, she was like, basically, there's too much stress. I'm about to just go recreate it all. So she goes back to the studio, re-records every song, every project from the past, whatever bangers that she's had and projects that she's had, and re-put it out. So now she has ownership over these new recordings, and her fans.
And her fans said, you know what, we're only going to stream the new stuff. We're not going to stream the old stuff and give them money.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
Although I love Scooter Braun, so if you ever want to come onto the podcast, you know. But anyway, shout out Taylor Swift. Shout out Travis Kelce.
They got the Jets-Chiefs game being the most streamed game since the Super Bowl,
which is crazy. Shout out Zach Wilson, brother. You actually did all right.
He played better than
I'm not gonna lie.
Did. Yeah.
He did all right. I just shouted out a lot of people, and we've been talking about a lot of celebrities today. So I'm going to give us a pause from that, and we'll come back to that here in a second. But what I do want to dive into is the food industry and Ozempic. So what is Ozempic, Milad? Go ahead and break it down. Now, I know I should be the person breaking it down, but I'm trying to utilize you as my guest today, my co-host today. I'm leveraging you so I can talk less because I'm already over-talking. So
Yeah, Ozempic is the miracle drug. It is the cure to all of your body image issues that you have. It's a weight loss pill. And
my man was trying to sell the product.
That's yes.
My man said it's the cure to all your body image issues. Well, damn, way to hit me in my heart. You know? But all right.
So for those that struggle with obesity, it essentially acts as an appetite suppressant. But on a deeper level, I think it really retrains your brain's gut to brain signal to be able to better communication there to like, hey, I'm actually full.
Right.
I don't need to keep eating.
So you can make better decisions when you're shopping, make better decisions when you're eating at home, make better decisions when you in the middle of the night when you wake up instead of being like, I have crazy cravings. When you are taking this pill or shot, I believe that right now they don't have pills yet.
Shot, yeah.
It's shots, which can be delivered like multiple times a week or once a week. But I believe it's once a week, and essentially it has all the benefits that he just talked about: appetite suppressants, just kind of controlling that cognitive to stomach relationship, and has helped a lot of people lose a lot of weight and maintain it while they're on it. I think one thing that I posted when I saw this article that we're going to dive into, one thing that I reposted was, I think the conversation and what the conversation is in the health and fitness community right now is not what's the impact of Ozempic when people are on it, but what's going to be the impact on these individuals once they step off of it? How are they going to be able to sustain and maintain their progress and their decision-making skills? And we've already seen, if we look at research and some of the report and feedback from people who have taken Ozempic and then stepped off, is they regain that weight back, kind of like when you go on a crash diet. Although, so this is a little bit more safer than a crash diet, but you're not really building... In case you're doing this alongside a coach that's helping you develop new habits, helping you develop new relationships with food, all that's happening is a medication is helping you make these new decisions. And once that medication is taken away, that rebound, what's that rebound going to look like? And how is that also going to impact the food industry? So the food industry is a little bit concerned right now because by 2035, in about 10 years, they're assuming or estimating that there will be over 35% of Americans, on using fat loss drugs. And because it's an appetite suppressant, because it kind of helps you make better decisions around food, because oftentimes we find ourselves at the grocery store super hungry, grabbing random snacks, grabbing random things that we don't really need for the household, but we feel like we might need in the moment due to our cravings and what our brain's feeling like. The food industry and people who are selling these foods, so let's say Aldi's, let's say Price Chopper, let's say Walmart, let's say Target, these retailers who sell consumables are a little concerned that their products aren't going to get bought and that it's going to hurt, basically revenue and sales inside of their organizations. What first comes to your mind when you hear this news or when you saw this in the doc?
Yeah, so I'm going to put that on pause for a second. Let's go back to Ozempic and the effects when you're off of it, right? Yeah. I actually have heard the opposite. I have heard that people are keeping the weight off because that neural connection between the brain and the stomach stays. So they're actually not consuming as much food even after they're off the drug.
Interesting.
I know. Do you know anyone that's on the drug?
I don't know anyone that's on the drug. Do you?
Yes, I know.
Sick.
I know 2 people that are on the drug.
Sick. Yeah. Locally?
Yes. Yeah.
Super sick. And so have they stepped off of the drug and that's who you're hearing it from, or just other research papers you're seeing online and feedback? Because I think that's like the interesting thing, especially like when something so popular like this comes out and kind of like takes over an industry like the healthcare industry right now. It's all the talk is in terms of health and wellness, fat loss, which is a huge billion-dollar industry, fat loss supplements, fat loss products, fat loss personal training, fat loss marketing.
The health industry
it's just huge,
large.
Right? Exactly. And so when something comes in and like takes over, there's always so much conflicting information that comes out. So it just kind of depends on what you're consuming. But I'd love to hear more about that. What I've read is essentially the total opposite. And it kind of makes sense to me. It's like, all right, this product is not just going to, this pill or this shot is not going to just fix it. I mean, what medication do we know that literally just fixes it? And as soon as you come off of it, you're good for life?
medication.
Yeah, I mean, because that is what it is. It's a pharmaceutical drug.
Yeah.
So it's like when you put this into your system, awesome that it helps, curb some negative decisions, help you just maneuver around that space, right? Whatever it might be. It could be diabetes, it could be high blood pressure, it could be. But as soon as you come off that pill, a lot of times, especially in health, it's lifestyle behavior that you have like acquired through constant practice and habit development, which is not necessarily happening with people who are like, oh, this product will help me lose weight, jump on it. And sure, it helps them lose weight because that's what the product does. But as soon as they decide I can't afford this anymore, or maybe it's having some negative side effects, I'm getting some like gastrointestinal issues, and so they come off of it, now what's going to happen? That's where my concern is. And I know you said, you've heard the opposite, but I think this is just something we'll kind of have to see over time. It's
happening in real time, right? You can't even get Ozempic if you wanted to. The supply chain and demand for it is completely out of whack.
What about other companies in that space? Is there any other companies in that space?
Yes. I don't know anyone on Ozempic. I know someone on Wegovy. And then the other one is, I think it's pronounced Mounjaro.
Mounjaro.
Yeah. So I know someone on Wegovy, and called every pharmacy in the Kansas City area. Can't get it. Just they don't have it. They don't know when they're going to get it next, and it is what it is. So, you're seeing that in real time. People can't actually get the medication to continue taking it. So you're going to see those effects, and like, okay, how am I adjusting to being off of this? Am I still going to maintain those same habits? Is my brain connection, still intact there, where like I still feel full? When it comes dinner time, do I? Because really, I think a lot of what people suffer with obesity isn't necessarily like what they're eating. I think it's just the amount that they're eating. Like they're still full, they still feel full, but they still have the appetite and push through that and still keep eating. So it really doesn't matter like what it is. You're just over consuming food that unnecessary. It's not necessary, right?
Yeah, and I think one thing that I think about in this space is pharmaceutical companies are always demonized, but when something comes in and can actually help improve your like longevity of life in your health, how are we looking at pharmaceutical companies that do that, right? Are we still like, no, you're doing this for money, the prices are too high, but how much can one, it goes back to Alex Hormozy, and what he says is like, if you can get it fast, you can get it, what is it, fast, it's easy to take, like it's easy to consume, it comes to you fast, it solves your problem quickly, and you don't have to do much work, right? There's not much friction. Then like that product is a amazing,
S-tier.
What is it called? What does he call it?
S tier.
S tier, but what does Alex calls it? A top tier offer. What is it?
Irresistible offer.
Irresistible offer. Yeah. How much will you pay for that? And it's like, are these pharmaceutical companies right or wrong for charging a high price? At the end of the day, they're a business, right? And what do businesses do? Going back to that essay,
make money.
Make money. And how do they make money? By providing something people want, right? And oftentimes need and value. So that's just another conversation we won't dive down today, but something to like stimulate the mind. When a pharmaceutical company is charging super high prices for a product that is super valuable and can change your life and will do it quickly and can do it fast without you having to do much work, how much money, should you be willing to pay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyways,
absolutely.
I love it.
So to go back to like the whole food industry.
Yes.
Impact of this, right? So when we think about, the way that new technology disrupts the current market, I don't see this as like a negative for the food industry. I think that this is a great opportunity for them to reinvent themselves and provide different types of products that are still fitting the need of being fed and feeding ourselves and providing taste and that experience that we as humans love as eating, and maybe not focus so much on the sustenance part of the food, but maybe reinvent that and provide some other value when it comes to taste and that experience of eating. We're going to be probably consuming less, but I think that's really just comes down to calories, right? There's not going to be as much nutritional value to that food, but there may be other things that we can provide there that are still enticing to consumers. Maybe this is a good opportunity for some people that are in the traditional food space to kind of transition into like beverages, right? And reinvent themselves in a way.
As a company, as a whole.
As a company that's providing beverages to people that, maybe people are getting vitamins and minerals through that. Maybe there's, caffeine. I've talked a little bit in the coming days about, some different ways that you can incorporate caffeine into traditional beverages. Is me personally, like one of my problems with coffee is it's very acidic, so it does not sit well with my stomach. But I love the caffeine intake, and I love having something hot in the morning to drink. So like, what are alternatives to that? Right now, I've just settled on the caffeine pill because that's still a way for me to get that caffeine and again reduce that acidity. But yeah, I think it's just a challenge that welcomes new innovation for the food industry, and I think people should welcome it rather than.
And I think, kind of like you said, I think what it'll do is it'll expedite that, because what we've already seen in terms of like the flip side of trying to match up with consumers kind of wanting more healthy options, quote unquote healthy options, higher protein options, more organic options. Like that's been a huge thing over the past 10 years. Yeah. And we've seen these companies kind of like rush to get in the race. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, they're making this, so Quaker is going to start creating high protein oatmeals as fast as we can. How can we get this product out there like super fast so we can compete in the market of high protein, processed consumables, but nonetheless with a focus on health and wellness and marketing in that way. So when we talk about Ozempic and this being around fat loss and making better decisions around food, is like, how can we reinvent ourselves and get to market with something that's going to still be desirable by these people? So it kind of forces you, like you said, to kind of reinvent themselves, think harder. I think for, I don't know what they call it. I guess they probably call it the same thing. I don't know, product developers inside of that space. Obviously, when we think about product development, we always think about apps, but food engineers are going to, make or break themselves now. You know what I'm saying? Be able to show if they're really valuable and come up with some fire shit or not, right? Or not. So, what we'll do, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to transition into talking quickly about a little Rihanna ASAP shit. Fiasco. We'll spend like 2 minutes there, and then we will, if you want to, I'll kind of break down that. If you want to think about the next two of those software websites you want to point out that we can cover before we wrap up today, I think we got about 10 minutes left. So let's jump into ASAP Rocky, Rihanna. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you already heard on the episode with me and Yazin, a.k.a. Yaz T, a.k.a. the founder and CEO of Yazin Global, dope designer here in Kansas City. But you know what? Forget saying here in Kansas City. My man's is global, okay? So wherever you at, you can shop with him. But if you guys listened to that episode, we talked about being a part of the ASAP Rocky music video shoot for the song he dropped called Riot. And during that time period, Rihanna was in town. Rihanna wanted to find a place to stay while she was waiting, because Rocky and their whole squad was here for like 2 weeks, right? I feel really weird by calling him Rocky, so I'm going to take that back and I'm going to say ASAP. So ASAP was here for 2 weeks working on a Dr. Dre Beats headphones commercial that they shot here in Kansas City, and then they shot the music video here in Kansas City. So I believe they were here for like 10 to 12 days, right? Maybe even a little bit longer. So Rihanna comes, touchdown in Kansas City. She's looking for a place to stay. She's not trying to stay at the hotel. And so we, hear, or my little ears say she was looking for Airbnb to rent while she's here. Then that's where the whole rumor starts. The rumor starts in the real estate community in Kansas City that Rihanna and ASAP are looking to buy a home in Mission Hills. First and foremost, they're not buying no goddamn home in Mission Hills, ladies and gentlemen. Why would they buy a home in Mission Hills? And don't even start, because you know what? Some article I read that they were about to say is they were about to say something that you say to anybody who's trying to move to Kansas City. We got to remember ASAP, Rihanna, they're not anybody. Okay, so let's start there. I'm not putting them on a higher level, but what I am saying is that they are celebrities who need to be in major cities often, daily, for their business, for their creativity. Neither one of them are from the Midwest. Why would you choose to buy a home in the Midwest? This isn't a vacation spot. Nobody looks at Kansas City as a vacation spot. Kansas City is home to people who want to have a nice, chill living, bigger city but small town vibes, want to raise their kids in the burbs, go to a decent educational system, have some fun sports teams. We're a nice little Midwestern city. Why are they moving here? Y'all be like, because it's the middle of the coast. It's between LA and New York, and it's easy to get there, and they need a quiet place where people don't buy. Shut up, okay? Shut up. Be quiet. Okay? They're not moving here. Let's go ahead and get that out the way. Now, Kansas City Star or some, I don't know, it's Kansas City Star, I believe, releases an article breaking down this whole fiasco and where the rumors come from. And they interview like 5 of the neighbors of this home, which was, if y'all want to look it up, 5550 Ward Parkway. It used to be the home of Mike Archer, who was the CEO of Applebee's and currently is owned by Michelle Van Trump, a local real estate agent who owns the property now and is planning on doing renovations because her daughter started an architecture company. Hey, Shorty, if you want to come on a podcast, you know what I'm saying? We invite anybody and everybody. You dig what I'm saying? But listen, they even say, the current owners, they're not looking to sell. They have plans with the crib. The neighbors say, this is rumors. There was no plans. We didn't see Rihanna here. Rihanna's not coming here. They did all their little research. Rihanna's not coming here. I could have told y'all at the beginning, Rihanna's not coming here. Don't get yourself too hyped. Just because Taylor Swift, came in here, flew on a little PJ and kissed Travis Kelce in Kansas City don't mean every celebrity going to come to Kansas City. Calm down. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, what software do we want to talk about today? Actually, last thing, you want to get rich? Start a business, okay? I know that's such a shitty way of saying that, very shitty way of saying that. I look like one of those little internet gurus. But what I want to point out is I've always had dreams of living on Ward Parkway. I don't know if you guys ever drove up and down Ward Parkway a lot with your parents growing up, like, hey, let's go look at the nice houses during Christmas time. And then you over there like, I want to live in a house like that. And your parents are like, well, become a lawyer. And you're like, all right. Little do we know, none of these people are lawyers. Okay, some of them are lawyers. But like 6 of the people that they interviewed around this house that Rihanna's thinking about buying, she's not, are all business owners. The one that I remember is Jeff Hargroves, founder of ProPharma, a pharmaceutical company. But there was another family, they own like dental studios in Kansas City. Another family that owns something else. Look, bro, own something. That's your little motivation for the day. I know I said that in the shittiest way possible, but own something. Moving on. Software of the day. Our guy Milad here has a software list of over, how many? Like 1,000?
Yeah, about 1,000.
About 1,000 different. You break it down for him.
Yeah, so I'm just I'm on the internet looking at boxes on my computer all day long, looking at squares.
Thanks.
And yeah, just save stuff that I find interesting that may have a use case in the future, or it might be interesting to just share with somebody else, or it's like, oh, that I like the problem that solves. I don't have that problem, but maybe I will in the future. So I just save it, and I now have a collection of 1,000 of them. So the one that we're gonna start off with is called Chatbase. It's chatbase.co, and this is actually something that we just kind of discussed a few hours ago, actually.
Yes.
So this solves a problem that I think a lot of businesses probably have, especially when it comes to really getting their information and making it accessible to the entire organization. So you go to ChatGPT, you're chatting with it. It's trained on like the entirety of the internet, basically up until like 2021 or whatever it is.
Yep.
So like everything that's public, but like your onboarding documents for your sales team or your processes for your operations team, like that stuff's not public on the internet. That's just like in a Google Drive folder or a Microsoft document, Word document on your computer. So you can actually take all of these documents and feed it into a language model just like ChatGPT and make your own ChatGPT bot. It interacts the same way. You just type in questions, but it's trained on all the information about your organization. So you can use this as a great way to upskill people faster within the organization as you bring in new talent. So instead of having a trainer go through and actually like talk them through and have to hold their hand and engage with them, 24 hour, 40 hours a week to get them skilled up, you can minimize that and just say, okay, I've given you enough information. This is good enough for you to like jump on a call with a customer and deal with them. And if anything comes up, I'm pretty sure you can just type in the chat bot while you're talking to the customer and it'll give you the information you need to help them in real time, right? Much easier than having your manager whisper in your ear, distracting them from their job while they have 3 other people that are training also on calls that they have to whisper in their ears as well. Mm-hmm. I think that's super actionable type of technology that you can implement to really provide value to your organization and free up a lot of time.
Yeah, and what you hear a lot of the guests that come onto this podcast talk about that own businesses or buy into businesses is systems and processes, efficiency, systems, and processes. And like a product like this, chatbase.co, ladies and gentlemen, you can Google it on your own right now and go do some research while you're listening. They optimize, improve, and, make efficient your internal systems and processes. If you as a CEO or as a sales manager or as anybody who's in a high management position at a company can reduce the amount of times you're getting interrupted, your door knocked on, a call, a Slack message from your team asking questions that they should know or should be able to research within 10 seconds, imagine how much time you could save by just having a product like this, putting your SOPs from all parts of your business, standard operating procedures, inside of this, chat-based chatbot, and just having it disseminate this information within 2 seconds to all of your, whatever you want to call it, customer service, sales, whatever role, whatever department has a question, is not asking the manager who needs to be doing higher impact work in that moment. I think it, like you said, could free up a lot of time and make businesses a lot more efficient.
Absolutely. And I think on the reverse side of that, if you can train this this bot on the information on your website, instead of having people like leave a message on your site when they go to chat or chatting with some like automated bot that like doesn't really know anything, it's just kind of there to like make people feel that they're getting a real-time chat or real-time person. If it actually provided real-time information, it's like, hey, how much does this cost? Or what's the time frame for this? And provides that information in real time. You're answering your customers' questions faster, providing them better customer experience. That's going to differentiate you from your competition and put you above your competitors, because you're able to get that information to your customers as quickly as possible and provide them a better customer experience.
I love that.
On both sides, both customer and then the internal side as well.
I love that. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's our time. So is there anywhere that people can find this software list of thousands of softwares you have, or do you have plans on that being available somewhere online in the near future?
I have plans to publish this in the near future, yeah. I will definitely give you a link at some point that you can add to your YouTube channel and post.
At some point, ladies and gentlemen, I need y'all to comment. We want it now. We want it now. We want it now.
If I get a lot of pressure to do it, I will definitely spit
like
it out
in high
a little
school.
faster, for sure.
Anyways, man, I appreciate you dropping in, being the co-host today. Had a good conversation, chatted about Rihanna, chatted about Swift, chatted about some software businesses, chatted about how influencers can impact. We talked a lot about a lot.
We did.
And I really appreciate you coming in, because I think this is one of my funnest conversations I've had on the podcast personally, just because I'm a big business enthusiast and I think we just chat really well and engage really well. So I appreciate you coming on. Is there anything that you want to plug before we sign out today? I've got
nothing to promote. If you liked that conversation and think that I could help you in your business in any way, feel free to reach out or call us. He's more than happy to connect us, but Nothing to promote at this time. Sorry.
I love it. Get on that.
I will.
Voices of Value podcast, ladies and gentlemen, episode 165 or 166. You'll see it on this post. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you press that notification button. Press the subscription button. Share with a friend. Leave a comment, as that is the only way we can grow. It is your boy, CIZZY, signing out.